Hey, Joe the Tender here, and you're watching my video on how to start the very first few rows. Now, if you have not watched my where to start video, which is how to lay out your laminate floor or your vinyl plank floor, how to figure out the layout if you have a bigger area where you're going into multiple rooms, or even if it's just one room, go watch that video first and then come back to this. Now in this video, again, I'm going to show you how to install the very first few rows, and then I'm also going to show you at the end of the video how to secure that floor on a wood subfloor and also on a concrete slab. So here, let's watch. So in the last video I showed you how to snap that line that we have across the main part of the living room. Now the next steps that we're going to do in this video is we're going to put 3 to 4 rows of laminate together. We're going to move the floor into the correct position, and to get the measurement we're going to get that from the cheat sheet that we created in the last video. And once we get the floor into the proper position, then I'm going to show you how to secure the floor. Now here's a pad that I use. It's called Quiet Walk. You can come to my website, get a link for this. It's one of the best laminate pads out there. I use it most of the time. Now I put that flap, that plastic flap, against the wall. That's where I start it, and then that flap will be against the laminate pad on the next row, and it's just easier that way. Now what we have here is the female end and the male end of the laminate. You always want to put the male end towards the starting wall. Now I'm going to start laying out the laminate here, and when I'm doing this I watch for pattern repeats. Now most laminates come with 5, 6, 7 patterns, some more, some less. Sometimes you get a big group of those patterns in one box. Now you can see how I started away from on this side of the vent, and that's what we're going to do. Now you can also see here that when I put this laminate up against the wall, it does not look like I'm leaving an expansion joint. I get asked a lot, why aren't you leaving an expansion joint? Well, if the sheetrock is up off the floor and your flooring slides under, there's a 1/2 inch right there that you're going to get. And it's hard to see that sometimes on camera unless I get the camera down like we're showing you right now. But if your sheetrock is up, which most of the time sheetrock is installed so it's up off the floor, you can use that as part of your expansion gap. Okay, now we're going to start putting some more of these rows together. Now this can be a little difficult because the floor moves, and until we secure it, it's a little more difficult to put the planks together. And you can see that I'm using a tapping block. Now I like to use a tapping block to help me get these boards together. It just makes it a little bit easier. Now I'm not beating on the floor so hard that I'm destroying the edge of the laminate there where the locking system is. All I do is I lightly tap to get it together. And I found that it's easiest to start by lifting and putting the butt joint in first, and then ever so slightly lifting the plank and tapping to get it to go into joint. Now I'm not using the best laminate out there. This is a Mannington. It is a good product. It's one of their higher ends. It's a 12 millimeter, which is thicker, which I recommend going with a 12 millimeter. It just makes it a lot more easier for you to install, being thicker, and it's a lot more high quality floor. So what I'm doing here is I'm not using a tape measure. I'm just turning the boards together so the 2 female ends are facing each other here, and now I'm going to leave an expansion joint. I'm going to mark the board, and I'm going to go and cut it. Now I have other videos that show more about this, so be sure to check those out in Laminate University on my website. This is also a cutter that I have some information about on my website. Really nice cutter, easy to use. You can use it inside. I just absolutely love that cutter. So for more info, come to my website and check that out. Now I'm just going to slide this board in, and we're going to tap it in, and then we have one more row that we want to get installed here for sure. Now we could do more, but for sure we want to at least get 3. Once we get those 3 rows together, we're going to want to move this floor into position, and we're going to get that measurement from our cheat sheet that we created in the last video. Now I showed also how you can find more of these numbers that are in between the numbers that you have on your cheat sheet, in between each 10 boards. So go back and watch my where to start video if you don't understand where I'm getting these measurements from on this cheat sheet. Now what I do is I measure from the line to the floor. Now I can measure to any of these planks that of these 4 that are laying on the floor to find my number that's on my cheat sheet, as long as it ends on a full plank, and you've seen that the 124 inches ended on a full plank there. And so what I did then, after I had it in position, is I measured from the very first board to the line from the tongue, and I got a measurement of 99 inches. And now I'm going to the other side, and I'm going to measure out to 99 inches to that line. You can see I have to move the floor a little bit, so I just walk over and I just lightly tap with my foot to get it over a little bit, and I'll keep continuing to do this until we get that floor straight. And then what we're going to do from there is we are going to secure the floor. Now I double checked this quite a few times, and you can see I made sure that my laminate started before that vent and before the outside wall, so I don't need to cut any of that in. Now I like to do this, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples here why I like to do this. You can see how I pulled the floor away from these cabinets in a different installation that I did. It just makes it a lot easier doing it this way, to be able to get a good solid foundation to build off of, and then continue on with your installation, and then come back at the end, unsecure the floor, and then work those areas that need all of the cutting done. And I have a lot of methods and tricks that I use to show you how to do this, so be sure and check out my next video. Okay, so we have our first few rows together now. We have the floor in position and we're ready to secure it. Now the method that I'm going to show you on how to secure the floor here can be used on a wood subfloor or on a concrete slab. I have a couple of different ways that I'll show you on how to secure that floor. Now it's very important to secure your floor so that it doesn't move, and I mean we're talking a solid foundation to build off of here. When you kick it or stand on it or walk on it, it's not going to move. When you bang on it, it's not going to move. That's the type of floor that you want to build off of. Now they sell these little wedges at the home improvement store. They talk about them in the instructions on the box, but those little wedges that you stick in the wall are absolutely worthless. Your floor is going to move, you're going to struggle putting it together, and you're going to pull the hair out of your head trying to do it. They are just absolutely worthless to use. Trust me when I tell you this. The other thing that I like about the method that I'm sharing with you on how we're doing this is that you don't need to worry about cutting vents or scribing to the first wall, cutting around cabinets and things like that until the very end. The way that I show you helps you continue on that solid foundation all the way throughout your installation, and then you come back to those tough areas and you'll cut those in. And with the methods that I'm going to show you, and with you already having a nice solid foundation to work off of, you're going to see that those tough areas are no longer tough. And so I have a ton of videos that I want to share with you that's going to help you finish where you're at right now all the way to getting done. So come and check those out. There's a link below for Laminate University. It's a members only area on my website that you can come and sign up for, become a member. You'll have access to a private Facebook group where I can answer your questions quickly. You can share drawings. You can ask questions on which way you need to lay out the laminate, which direction you should run the planks, floor prep questions, whatever your questions are. You'll have more direct access to me there, where I will be able to help you through any of those situations that you need help with. So again, go click on the link below, join Laminate University today, get access to the rest of my videos. I hope to see you there. I'm Joe Latender. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now you've watched my video on installing the very first few rows. We secured the floor, and now we're going to continue the installation on. Now you can see some more of my other videos where I'm going to show you how we continue on through this installation, and we're going to go into multiple areas: a kitchen, a dining room, a hall, a laundry room. We're going to go around an island, and I have some other footage of other installations that I've been on that I will also show you in other videos that follow this one. So be sure to check those out. Now, when you're all done with your installation and you need to pull those boards that you put down to secure the floor, you need to install the last few rows. So, watch my next video, or watch the video in my series here, how to install the last few rows.